Welcome back to the third rail. This is episode 5, the costume and the chain. Who are we performing for? Here's the whole theme of it. The complex ways Black people are expected to perform identity in classrooms, boardrooms, pulpits, and in social media. The master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. Think about it. Let me say that one more time. The master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. Now, let's make this personal. How much of yourself do you have to leave at the door when you enter white spaces? The way you talk, the way you dress, the way you wear your hair, the opinions you share, the emotions you show, how much of it is really you and how much is performance? Today, we're talking about it. We're talking about the costumes that we have to wear, the chains that bind us, and what it costs to always be performing safety for others to be comfortable. This is the third rail, and I am Dr. Mark James.
Yeah, I am that I am. Oh, I am that I am. Everything was manifested. They wondering how I do it. You wanna know how I do it? I am that I am. It's really that easy. Know who you are when you speak it. Lost in the phone and the TVs. Everything that shine ain't gold. God sees me just for who I am.
Welcome back to the third rail. Today's episode is about performance, about the ways Black people are expected to perform identity, whether we want to or not. Again, the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. So whose house are they dismantling? That quote talks about more than just the literal tools. It talks about the frameworks, the languages, the ways of being that white supremacy has normalized. When we perform respectability, when we code switch, when we contort ourselves to fit into white spaces, we are using the master's tools, and those tools will never, ever set us free. Today, we're asking a simple question. What does it cost to always be performing? And what does it look like to stop? Let's start with respectability politics. The idea that Black people just act right, dress right, speak right, behave right, will be accepted, will be safe, will be successful. Guess what, man? It's a lie. Respectability politics has never protected us. Not really. You could have a PhD, JD, and still get followed around in the store. You can speak proper English and still be called the N-word. You can wear a suit and still be shot by police. Let's pause right there. My son, my middle son, went to an exclusive university where it's stated that less than 1% of the people that apply in this country get in. You have to have a letter from the governor or congressperson to be able to get accepted. And I'm ashamed to say that the day that me and my son separated, I had to give him the conversation that my mom gave me when I was traveling from South Florida the first time on my own to Louisville, Kentucky to go to college. When the police pull you over, she taught me how to stay alive. And I'm glad she did that because I got pulled over several times, driving through the mountains of Georgia, driving through Kentucky, Tennessee. And I knew how to be respectable to police to survive. I remember a time when I was asked to get out of my car because it was a nice vehicle. My mom bought me a nice vehicle to go to college. And I was handcuffed with my hands behind me and sat down on the side of the highway. And it was raining. And the officer that pulled me over, Another officer came up and they were joking. They had their raincoats. They were laughing. And I sat there. The same lesson that I've learned, I taught my son. Going to a prestigious university. Sometimes respectability doesn't save us. That's the thing that we need to understand. It just makes us complicit in our own oppression, man. Because when we buy into respectability, we're saying that some Black people deserve better treatment than others. That the Black person with a degree is more worthy than the one without. That the Black person who speaks properly is more human than the one that speaks with a Southern accent. That's not liberation, that's internalized oppression. And here's the truth. Even when we perform respectability perfectly, you are still Black. And for some people, that is still a problem. Let's talk about the burden of representation. In professional spaces, Black people carry the burden of representation. We're not just ourselves, we represent our entire race. If we succeed, we prove Black excellence. We're seeing that on the social media posts for Black History Month. If we fail, we conform to stereotypes. That's an impossible weight, and it shapes everything we do. We can't just be good. We have to be twice as good. We can't just speak. We have to speak perfectly. We can't just exist. We have to be palatable. Can I pause for a moment? You can have several degrees and still be treated worse than a person that has nothing. Now, why is that important? A Black person will go out there and get indebted and get 5 to 6 degrees. A white kid graduates high school and specializes in some level of technology and makes 3 times more than that person. But the reality is that our Black skin demands that we have to be more. We have to be twice as good to get half the distance of those that don't have our skin. This burden is exhausting, man. It forces us into situations that we sometimes get tired. Sometimes we get tired of the race of being twice as good to get half the distance. Whew, I got to take a deep breath on that one, and let's talk about that, okay? It forces us to constantly monitor ourselves. How I'm being seen. What are we thinking? Am I conforming their fears or disrupting them? And the answer is it doesn't really matter. People determined to see you through a racist lens will do it regardless how perfectly you perform. This burden is not ours to carry, and we can choose to set it down. Let's talk a little bit about code switching and Black authenticity. Code switching is survival. Most of us do it. Don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. We switch between how we speak with our people and how we speak in white spaces. There's nothing wrong with being multilingual without knowing multicultural languages. The problem is when code switching becomes mandatory, when our natural voice becomes a liability. When we begin to believe that our authentic selves isn't good enough, that's when we must perform whiteness to be worthy. Look at what is Black authenticity. There just isn't one. We're not a monolith. Authenticity means being true to yourself, not performing for comfort, not shrinking for safety. It means claiming your full humanity. And yes, that includes code switching sometimes, but it must also include knowing that really you are worth something, always. What is the cost of performance? Let's talk about the cost. Constant performance is heavy trauma. It's hypervigilance, always scanning, always calculating, always managing. It's exhaustion. It's mental and emotional labor that adds up. It's disconnection. When you're always performing, you can lose touch with who you really are. It's not the barbershop politics. It's that you have to perform to be accepted. And sometimes you have nothing left. And for what? You may ask. For what? So others can feel comfortable? So others can access opportunities that should already be ours? The cost is too high, and the payoff is never guaranteed. We deserve spaces where we don't have to perform, where we don't shrink, where our Blackness is not just tolerated, but celebrated. And we must stop demanding performance from each other. Let's look at some guiding questions. As we close, sit with these questions. Who taught you what professional looks like? And who was excluded from that definition? What does it cost to always perform safely for others? When do you feel most authentically yourself? What would it be like to stop performing? The costume is heavy. The chain is real, but freedom is possible. Freedom is possible. Freedom is possible. Thank you for joining us for episode 5. Next week, we're talking about faith, about religion as refuge and restraint, about the gospel of survival, religion, rage, and Black resilience. This is the third rail, where race, power, and truth collide. I am Dr. Mark James. See you next time.
You wanna know how I do it? I am that I. From the heights to the west coast, all this fake recognition gets old. Time to get